What is our best 11? Now, before we get into the actual 11, let's talk about what our best system is so far. I'm going to put it into a poll. So what systems have we used so far? We've used 4-3-3
We've used
and we used 4-2-3-1.
In the Europa League, we used 3 at the back, but that was just a one-off game, I feel like. In terms of, I still don't think we've fully unlocked the full potential of this team and our players. Obviously, 4-2-3-1 we've looked the best at. That's obvious. That you can't really compare. As of now, 4-2-3-1 looks the best. I still feel like a 4-3-3 was with getting Lo Celso and Ndombele in there. Somehow, both of them in there could unlock the true potential of our team. However, then you've got a decision to make. Do you play Skip? Do you play Højbjerg? Can Højbjerg handle the workload by himself? Do we need someone like Skip behind him? So that's the difficult option. Obviously, having Skip and Højbjerg there is also good. It gives us a solid base, and we've obviously looked a lot better balance with them two in the team. And obviously, for now, I definitely want to keep them in the team. But in the long term, when we come up against maybe not better opposition, but there will be games, I feel like, once teams will start to work out how to play against Skip and Højbjerg, then I feel like we could come into a bit of trouble when they're being pressed, and whether they're good enough on the ball to play on the half turn, to be press resistant and to progress the ball forward. Like Newcastle was easy for them. Let's not beat around the bush. Newcastle was a simple day. They didn't get pressed on the ball. Whenever they had the ball, they had all the time in the world to pick out passes. Look at Højbjerg for the second goal. He had the freedom of St James's Park to play the ball over the top to Harry Kane for that goal. So
they gave up very quickly, didn't they, Newcastle?
Yeah. So look, I'm not. So from that perspective, like it's still very early.
The Villa game though as well. We had the Villa game as well, where Højbjerg and Skip were there. I mean, Villa weren't a pushover like Newcastle were.
Villa were not a pushover, but we only really looked dangerous. We did dominate possession against Villa, did we? We only really looked very dangerous in the transition, kind of sitting deep, nicking the ball in the midfield, which is a fine tactic, but that was where we looked strong. I'm just trying to figure out for Tottenham how we're going to get a team to be very dominant on the ball and look like they can progress the ball through the lines and create chances and be dominant while having possession. We haven't seen that yet from Tottenham, apart from the second half against Newcastle, but they made it easy for us. So I still feel like getting Lo Celso in there with Ndombele could potentially be our best. Right now, it has to be Skip and Højbjerg just for balance. But in long term, I've got a feeling having them two will be the key.
Who? Skip and Lo Celso?
Lo Celso and Ndombele somehow.
How do you do that with
question.
With keeping Skip and Højbjerg? It's not possible,
That's
is it?
the question. You can't have all 4 of them, can you?
Yeah.
You can't have all 4 of them. So
it's interesting. Well, let's see what you guys think out there. But in terms of our best formation, obviously 4-2-3-1 is a resounding.
It has to be that. Has to be 4-2-3-1.
Resounding winner, really.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at the 4-2-3-1 system, obviously you're going to put Hugo Lloris in goal. Right back is interesting because Emerson has come in. He's done okay. I mean, against Villa, he was very good. Against Newcastle, he looked a bit leggy and didn't have his best game, in my opinion. Tanganga, I mean, he had a strong start to this season, but I think Emerson just offers a lot more than him, doesn't he?
I think Emerson just on the ball is a lot more comfortable.
Anyway.
He's a lot more comfortable on the ball just in general, not necessarily just going forward. You know, if I'm passing the ball to Emerson in my own half to keep possession, build play up, I'm a lot more comfortable passing the ball to Emerson than I am to Tanganga. Tanganga, unfortunately, is still still lacks quite a big composure on the ball. By the way, I don't know if any of you saw any of those rumours about Tanganga. They're completely false. It's been confirmed now. All these rumours about him being arrested for gambling. It's absolute rubbish.
That was so weird, that whole thing. I mean, as soon as the rumours came out, they were poured cold water on so quickly. They came out with this whole apology. You got to think Daniel Levy was on the blower to them and being like,
what the hell, what's going on here?
We are suing the asses of you right now.
Yeah, definitely. So just if any of you still out there thinking that that story's true, it's completely rubbish. But going back to our best 11, I think from a defensive point of view, there is a good argument that Tanganga might even be stronger. I could see that argument. I think he's a bit stronger physically, a bit taller than. I think he's a bit taller than Emerson.
I don't think he is. I think Emerson's taller.
Well, then they must be similar height, no?
Maybe. I think Emerson's quite tall, though.
I think physically, maybe Tanganga has a bit on him, but I just think it's so important in modern football for your fullbacks to be comfortable on the ball. It's just on paramount importance, and because they need to be an option when you're going forward, and they always have to be there as that spare man, pretty much, to give the ball to if you're under pressure. And having Tanganga there, unfortunately, doesn't give me much confidence in giving the ball to him. And I think he can do a job. Like against Watford, I remember he went forward fairly well and whatever. But like his best games are like when the games you think about Tanganga, like having his best game. Liverpool, Man City under Mourinho as well, when he played left back, didn't have to go forward at all. He was just tasked at staying back, defend, and he's brilliant at that.
That just shows to me, like, I think he's more suited at centre back than he is at full back.
He does play like a centre back playing at full back, and that's what he plays like. So, for me, it has to be Emerson playing at full back, just for how comfortable he is.
I still personally think we need another right back. I think we need to ship Doherty out. That's for sure.
Doherty doesn't even get a look in anymore.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We need to ship him out, and we need to get in another right back to fight Emerson for that spot and move Jaffet back over to centre back, in my opinion.
Yeah. I probably agree with that. We probably do need another right back. I think Tanganga is just filling a hole that's there because there's no one else. I don't think he's there because we really believe he's going to be a right back for the future for us. I don't think so.
The thing is with Emerson, though, the jury for me is still out on him massively. He's only had one real good game for us, hasn't he?
Well, how many games he played?
No, not many. That's what I'm saying. When you bring in a new signing from abroad, the jury's got to be out. But having said that,
I disagree with that. I think you just got to give him time to prove himself. I don't think you can't. Obviously, the jury's out because you can't make a judgment yet. But
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know, but you can't. I don't think it's right to. Like the jury's out implies that like you're not happy with what you're seeing. I think he's all right. I think he's looking good. Actually,
no, it doesn't apply to what I'm not happy with what I'm seeing. It applies to that he's got to get used to the league. He hasn't got used to the league yet. There's a bedding in period, and you never know how these players are going to turn out.
I actually think under difficult circumstances, I think he's done fairly well.
He has done fairly well. I don't think he has done fairly well, but he doesn't look completely comfortable in that role just yet.
No, but give him time.
Yeah, of course, give him time. I'm not saying that.
I think he does look comfortable, personally, actually. I disagree. I think he does look comfortable.
I'm not too sure about that.
I think he does look comfortable. I think he's actually fully comfortable. I think
not fully comfortable. He does look solid, but there's just something about him. You say he looks comfortable on the ball. I don't really think that he does look that comfortable on the ball.
Well, compared to Tanganga, I was saying he does.
Yeah.
I think against Villa he showed a lot more composure than we'd seen in any of the previous performances.
Yeah,
and that showed to me he can definitely be a right back that you can rely on to have the ball.
Yeah, I agree with that. But like I said, that's only one performance, so the jury is still out.
Yeah, it's one performance, but he's only hasn't had many games. So I think I'm encouraged, for me, from what I'm seeing from Emerson, that he could be a good player for us.
I'd agree with that. All right, so that's a right back in Emerson. Centre back, obviously, Christian Romero.
Yeah,
he's a touch above the rest, isn't he? An absolute touch of class. Look, I don't think he even had the greatest game against Newcastle. I did think he looked a bit leggy at times, but you can just see the attributes that he has that we so desperately need in this team.
Yeah, and he's one player who allows us to play more on the front foot and more aggressive, because when you're attacking, you know that if you do lose the ball and they quickly get the ball to the striker, he's going to be on him like a rash. He's probably either going to give away a foul or he's going to nick the ball ahead of him. And that's what it's so crucial, having someone who can read the game like Romero in your team. And we haven't had that for so long, someone like Romero. We had people like Alderweireld. I think Vertonghen was more like it than Alderweireld, to be fair, more proactive. I think Alderweireld was proactive in his positioning, and he would very rarely have to make a tackle.
I think Romero's got elements of both to his game, Vertonghen's game and Alderweireld's game.
Yeah, well, hybrid of both, I'd like to say that. In terms of, Alderweireld was a touch of class because you very rarely saw him have to make a tackle. Like, he was one of those defenders who would position himself in the perfect place to win the ball all the time and not exert himself too much where he's making last-ditch tackles and running behind strikers because they've got wrong side of him. They never would get wrong side. That's why he was so good. But Romero's different. Romero is super aggressive. He's always going to go for the challenge, and that is a great quality. And the thing is, also depends on his partner, because his partner needs to be sweeping up after him if he does miss the challenge and stuff like that. He needs to be able to have good communication and a good partnership with his centre-back partner to really get the best out of him. But him as an individual, at the moment, I don't think we've seen anywhere near the best of him. But what we have seen is really impressive and encouraging performances for Romero, even though we still haven't seen his full potential yet.
Exactly, nowhere near his full potential, in my opinion. And I think we've seen glimpses of him being an absolute beast at centre back. And I love the look at him. I really do. And seeing his performances for Argentina during last week, I mean, he was a man mountain. He really was. And yeah, he is our best defender by some way. But his partner, that's the real question, isn't it? I'm going to put a poll up to see what you guys think, but it's a difficult one because I'm not the biggest Eric Dyer fan, but I've got a feeling that he might be the best suited to playing with Romero.
For the time being, only because he has that a bit of experience and seniority.
Rodon could be a shout, though.
I know. And I think Rodon, in long term, maybe even throughout this season, could be the man. But unfortunately, right now, he just hasn't been able to nail down a spot. They just, for some reason, doesn't have the trust of the management wherever he goes. And I'm not sure why, because in theory, his height, his ability to be, if Romero's more of a proactive defender, Rodon's the guy you want on the end of blocks and heading things away and always making challenges. He's the one who could sweep up after Romero, in theory. They could really be a good fall for each other. But I think Dyer, at the moment, as much as it's frustrating that he makes mistakes, he has that bit of leadership and that bit of experience, a bit of he has age on his side. He's obviously a massive figure in the dressing room, and
obviously he's the one probably most comfortable on that left-hand side as well.
Yeah, he is. I don't think Sanchez is comfortable at all on the left-hand side.
Every time he plays on the left-hand side, he makes it clanging, doesn't he?
Yeah, always Sanchez. I never look comfortable with him on the left-hand side. He's only looked better on the right. So that I think Sanchez unfortunately can't be the guy. As much as actually Romero and Sanchez in theory could be a decent partnership as well, I don't think you don't want either of them on the left-hand side. So it has to be Dyer or Rodon. And at the moment, Dyer seems to be the guy who has the trust. I do think Dyer is decent, to be fair. Like, I know everyone likes to say he's rubbish. I've always said he's a Europa League level centre back, and that's what he is. I don't think he's useless, but he's never going to be a centre back that can get you to top four. That's the reality of the situation. He's never been that for us. When has he ever been that for us?
No, he's never been that for us.
Never.
But is Rodon that as well?
We don't know. We don't know about Rodon. I'm saying with Eric Dyer, right? Like, he came to Spurs as a centre back. He very quickly moved over to the right back because we had so many injuries and whatever. But he broke into the team.
Didn't he play his debut at right back?
Yeah, we know. He actually started his debut at centre back, and then Norton got sent off.
Right.
And then he moved over to right back, and then he started the next few games at right back. But he came to us as centre back. We got like fifth with him playing centre back quite a lot. Then he moved over to defensive mid. And then he was also good in centre-back in a back three. But he's never been the part for Tottenham in a back two, in a centre-back.
I liked him when he was in that CDM role and then moving into a back three,
He was good for a time.
Yeah.
And then he got found out.
Yeah.
Because he lacks awareness. And we've always seen that with Eric Dyer. Even at centre-back, he lacks awareness. And you're going to get more exposed for lacking awareness at centre-mid than you will at centre-back.
But the poll is very interesting here. The results keep switching between Rodon and Dyer. At the moment, it's 39% to Rodon, 38% to Eric Dyer, which is actually mad. People can't make up their minds. A few minutes ago, Dyer was winning, but Rodon's taken a bit of a more lead now, 40% to 37%, which is very interesting. Probably just if he didn't make that own goal in the last minute of the Newcastle game, do you reckon Dyer wins this by a landslide?
I wouldn't say a landslide, but I think it'll be a lock. I think Dyer would definitely win it. He would definitely win it. I think recency bias is very strong with a lot of fan bases. So I think that definitely plays into it. But Rodon, I just think with his specifications, with his profile, he could definitely be a good foil for Romero. He just needs the game time.
Agree.
He just needs the game time, and he doesn't seem to be getting it at all.
If you were the manager, would you give him a long extended run in the team ahead of Dyer?
I would play Dyer next game, to be honest. But I think with a view of if he any more of those constant f-ups.
What about if I gave you a clean slate this season, start of the season, which centre-back partnership you going for?
I would give Romero and Rodon a go.
Yeah.
I would give it a go.
But now you're saying because he's given Dyer the nod, you've got to persist with him for a bit?
Yeah, because I don't actually. So I only say that because I know Dyer screwed up in the last minute against Newcastle, but I just think he had a good game overall, and to drop him because of that would send the wrong message to him. It's something everyone criticised Mourinho for doing, didn't it?
Yeah.
With one mistake and taking him out. So I think you just got to keep giving him a run and say, look, I know you made you got to give him the confidence to know, like, okay, you made a mistake, but we think you had a good game, so look, we're going to keep with you.
But this isn't the question that we're having now. We're not talking about who we think should start the next game. We're talking about who we think is best suited for our starting 11.
Yeah.
No matter how they've played this season, obviously you've got to take that into account. But, we're not taking the last game or the last few games into account because Rodon hasn't played.
Yeah,
so,
Rodon, in theory, Rodon could be the guy. We just haven't seen enough of him, unfortunately, to know for sure. But I think I do worry that him and Romero could be a bit hot-headed together and maybe, it might take time to build out that partnership. But I think from a potential standpoint, they could be the people who could provide the best partnership for us.
I've always been impressed watching Rodon. I really have. I know he's made a few mistakes here and there last season, but I really have been impressed every time I've seen him play, even for Wales as well, especially for Wales, to be honest. But I really do like Joe Rodon. I would like to see them given a go, but...
And also, Rodon's quick. He's 6'4", but he's actually no slouch. He can keep up with a lot of pacey strikers.
But yeah, I think I completely agree with you. Right now, I think I would persist with Dyer and Romero, but I would like to see Rodon and Romero given a shot. So when I'm talking about what I think our best 11 is, it's actually hard to put Rodon in there just because we haven't seen him that much.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
It's difficult, but the poll's got Rodon there.
The poll has got Rodon there, so I guess Rodon is going to go in there for now. So Rodon and Romero, centre-back positions. Left-back is a no-brainer, isn't it? Sergio Reguilon.
Yeah.
I believe we need another left-back. We need to get another left-back as well to fight with Reguilon because Davis, he ain't cutting it really anymore. Sessegnon, everyone knows, I don't really feel that great about Sessegnon. He hasn't done much in a Spurs shirt, keeps getting injured and stuff like that. Yes, he does still have time on his side, but we need someone else because we can't rely on him.
Yeah, I think, Davis is never going to... Davis has been here for so long. He's never going to be competing for the first team, let's be honest. It's never happened. He's never really nailed down a first team spot. He's only really been in the team because of injuries. That's the only real reason he ever gets in. So it's never going to be Davis. Reguilon, I really believe, is a top left back. I'm a big fan of his. And
I think he started the season really well, Reguilon. Yeah. Better than what he was last season, in my opinion.
Or the end of last season,
yeah.
So.
Or second half of last season.
Yeah, definitely. He's regaining his confidence back, which is very, very positive.
And obviously the game on the weekend against Newcastle was his best performance for a long time. So that's our back four. Midfield... can we argue against Skip and Højbjerg?
I think right now, I think you can, because I think Skip and Højbjerg right now are providing a really good base for the front four to flourish. I just think I'm not sure when it is, but I'm telling you there will be a time, unless Skip or Højbjerg really develop their game where they can play a bit more on the half turn and play with less time on the ball and play with a bit more quality, there will be a time where teams work them out and press them very aggressively, and whether they're up to that challenge to keep possession under those situations, we haven't really seen yet. We haven't seen in those situations. So I think right now you have to say they're in our best 11. You have to, because no one else provides a base like them to. But I think in the future, I reckon you need one of Lo Celso and Ndombele in the pivot.
And Bounty Killer here in the chat makes a good point. Sarr coming in next season as well. He could very well lay down a place in this team.
True. Sarr, I'm excited about the prospect of him coming in, but that's for next season. For now, I feel like having Lo Celso...
It also depends who you're playing against, obviously.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if we're playing against a Man City, if we're playing against a Chelsea, you know what I mean?
them.
You need Skip and Højbjerg in there. If you're playing against a Watford or a Norwich or someone like that, you know, you can maybe afford to bench Skip or Højbjerg, one of the two.
I would like to see how it would be with Lo Celso a bit deeper and Ndombele a bit further forward.
So I'd like to see maybe Skip or a Højbjerg next to Lo Celso and Ndombele.
And as much as it pains me to say it, I actually think it might have to be Skip over Højbjerg in that kind of situation, because Højbjerg in that situation where you have the danger that he won't be, unless he has someone really helping him out defensively, his defensive output actually goes down when he doesn't have a partner next to him who can help him out properly. And because he feels like he has to put out, I think he takes, I don't know whether he takes on too much responsibility within himself or just because he gets overrun. But if I feel like he doesn't have that physicality to cover every blade of grass like other defensive midfielders can. And so I feel like Ollie Skip has more of that defensive discipline than Højbjerg would. So I would definitely, if I was to play a Lo Celso in a pivot, I would actually rather see him next to Skip than Højbjerg in a weird way.
It's actually mad, Skip coming in at 20 years of age, how important he actually is to us.
Yeah.
It's crazy how quickly
of his game.
It's so how quickly how important he became to us, and cast your mind back to just before he went on loan when Mourinho said this guy's captain material, and we're seeing that on the pitch right now, aren't we?
Yeah, he's a super, like, we're seeing exactly why Norwich fans loved him. He's a super mature player. Not only that, his reading of the game and his positional play when it went off the ball, where to be, and the amount of times he's able to tackle, serious dribblers who other teams have struggled to deal with, a la Adama Traore or Alan Saint-Maximin and people like that. Like, he's been at the forefront of our defensive game in midfield and having that physicality. And he's, like, for the circumstance, I'm not saying he's been, like, the best midfielder in the league or anything, but I think for his circumstance, coming in as a 20-year-old, as a regular starter now in the Premier League, I think he's been brilliant. He has been brilliant to start the season.
Completely agree. I think he really has been sensational. But we're going to go for Skip and Højbjerg in the middle, in that double pivot. In the number 10, obviously, Ndombele, Lo Celso, Dele Alli.
Yeah, it can't be Dele. Yeah, I don't. He's not up to it anymore. He's had a few chances at the beginning of the season. As much as he's worked hard, like Ndombele probably did more in one game against Newcastle than Dele did in all his appearances on the ball.
In 3 years.
So there you go. So it can't be Dele. In terms of Ndombele or Lo Celso, I think Ndombele, we all know, has more quality. We've seen that. And when he's on form, he's unstoppable.
Yeah.
Gio has been doing great for Argentina. Haven't really seen, as of yet, for Tottenham this season, what he can do, or only in flits and spurts, really, in Conference League games and a few cameo appearances. I still get the feeling the team might be better with Lo Celso in it, but I think the maverick of Ndombele, what he can provide right now, he's in a moment playing very well. So I think, and with his superior quality, you have to play him. But Lo Celso, I think if he could break in, I don't know whether it would be in centre mid or attacking mid, but if he could break into that team again, I think we could have someone who we could prove so many doubters wrong if given a consistent run of form. I really believe that. And he's less of a liability than Ndombele off the ball. He's more likely to be part of a cohesive unit, pressing unit, than Ndombele.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's very hard to argue against Ndombele right now over Lo Celso. I think it is, Lo Celso over Ndombele. It's hard to agree that. I would go with Ndombele, just his supreme quality on the ball. When he's on it, I don't think there's any player in the Premier League that's better than him on the ball. I really don't. The guy has just sheer amounts of quality. But if you don't have the right mentality and the right fitness, you're not a top player. But he's got absolute world-class elite ability. And, you know, if he keeps this mood up that he had against Newcastle, if he stays in that kind of vein of form and keeps getting better and better, I mean, what a player we have on our hands. What a player we have on our hands. And we have to persist with him right now. And I think, you know, against the weaker teams, like I said, maybe put Lo Celso a bit deeper and play Ndombele. Play them both together and let's see what they can do.
Yeah, in a perfect world, I want them both together, but then it means leaving one Skip and Højbjerg out, and it's difficult. But I think we have to kind of, if we can get the balance right with both of them in the team, we could be a serious outfit. That's the only way.
That's the thing.
That's the only way I can see us closing the gap on the teams ahead of us. If the only way to do that is to get both of them in the team and get the balance correct, because those two have the ability to unlock potential in the team that we haven't seen yet, and that's the only way we can close the gap on the top four. Is getting something in the team we haven't yet seen. Because if we go by what we've seen, there's no chance of us closing the gap. We have to hope that there's something yet in this team that is yet to be unlocked, and that for me it's them two.
Yeah,
those are the two players. We spent a lot of money on both of them. We've seen flashes of brilliance from both of them, unfortunately not on a consistent basis. And we've never seen them both in the team together and us play well, really. I can't remember a time we've played well with both of them in the team. So if that's the only way we can do it. So that's why I'm saying that's why I have a feeling could be our best 11 with them two in the team. But at the moment, from what we've seen is not them. But I'm just hoping we can somehow unlock a formation with them two in the team.
Lo Celso, for me, is more of a pivot midfielder than Ndombele.
Yeah.
And I think that Ndombele, with his kind of work rate off the ball, you just can't play him in the double pivot. It just doesn't work for us, in my opinion. It worked for us for a time, but we were still getting split open time and time again.
Yeah,
throughout
still
that
getting
midfield.
exposed.
So
they can target him.
For me, we can't play him. Lo Celso has that energy and that work rate and that tenacity that can actually work in there, in my opinion. So, like I said, it depends what game, but I think for this team, we're going to go for Højbjerg and Skip and Ndombele. Left wing, come on.
Yeah,
we know who's going left wing, Heung-min Son. Up front, obviously, Harry Kane. Right wing, it's got to be Lucas Moura, surely, hasn't it?
Yeah, he started the season really well, I must say. And he's being a really good threat on the right-hand side. He's also not just being a threat on the right-hand side, but he seems to be playing a bit more centrally as well, coming inside into the central areas and doing what he was doing, near the end of last season under Mourinho. I know he's not playing in the cam role, but he's playing kind of the right central role in a way. He's not too far out wide, because I think he gets lost.
And it leaves Emerson to give some more room there. So
I think he gets lost when he's on the wing, because he can do his dribbles and then he gets to the byline and nothing happens. His crossing's not the best, unfortunately. We saw that against Newcastle, where he was on the right hand side for one moment and he had all the time in the world to get a cross in, and he blazes it away. Like, he's just not a very good crosser, unfortunately. He needs to be more centrally, where he's playing little through balls like he was to Kane. He's dribbling at the heart of the defence and striking fear into their defenders. That's where he's at his best. So it has to be Lucas. Unfortunately for Bergwijn at the moment, I think we've never seen him do an amazing job on the right wing. He's put a few competent performances, but I've never seen him kill it on the right. He's been good on the left. He's much better on the left. But obviously we've got Son there, so you can't really.
It's a good option to have.
Yeah.
Though.
Again, when it comes with Son, I feel like obviously he had a brilliant game against Villa when he was playing on the left-hand side. I feel like as his time at Tottenham goes on, he's going to have to be moved centrally.
But I think similar to Lucas Moura, how he can play a bit more centrally from that right wing role and let Emerson take up that space. Similar to Son can do that and let Reggie take that space.
I just feel like when Son is on the left hand side, and if he is putting too much energy towards tracking back and tracking back defenders and stuff like that, I feel like him too is similar to Lucas, less so Son, because I think Son has a much better cross on him and he can get to the byline and whip in a great ball. But he can get lost a bit on the left-hand side, where he's doing all that tracking back and then he has to burst a gut to get forward, and not only bust a gut to get into the position, but also then once he gets the ball, he's got to have that sharpness to get past the defender and whip across or get a shot in. And sometimes he loses it. When he's central, I feel like there are times, obviously, when he's up against a strong centre-back and he can bully him, but when he's on the last shoulder getting a run and he's so hard to deal with, I feel like Heung-min Son.
He's one of the best in the Premier League at that.
And I also feel like you don't get the best of his finishing when he's on the left-hand side as well. If we can somehow get a formation to get Lo Celso and Ndombele on the team and Kane and Son centrally, That would be the dream for me.
Yeah,
but that,
it's a big ask.
I don't know how you do that.
It's a big ask.
You could play maybe what we do on FIFA, 4-5. What William, what's his name? Cahill was saying. Was it Cahill?
Yeah. What, 5-3-2? He was saying Brian Hill at left wing back.
Yeah, forget Brian Hill left wing back. No, but if you, in theory, right, had a formation of a back three of Romero, Rodon, and Dyer, or Sanchez,
Whatever it
Dyer,
may be,
Romero, Emerson and Reguilon and full wing backs, and then you've got Højbjerg, Lo Celso, and Dombele with Kane and Son up front. Obviously, you're losing
Maybe
Lucas
skip
Moura,
Lo Celso and Dombele.
or even skip Lo Celso, and then you're dropping Højbjerg. But
Yeah.
that could be a formation actually that could really unlock the true potential of this team. I have a feeling you lose a bit of width you lose a bit of speed with Lucas. Obviously, he'd be a great option on the bench. But I feel like that formation with Kane and Son both centrally, that could actually be something that moving forward might be the best for us.
Interesting.
In a way, at the moment we're playing 4-2-3-1.
So you're taking out Lucas.
I would take out Lucas.
Wow. Interesting. All right, but I mean, for this formation for 4-2-3-1, we're going for Lucas obviously on the right wing. So that completes the lineup. So we're going Lloris in goal, Emerson right back, Reguilon left back, middle two. What was it? Rodon and Romero. Højbjerg, Skip, and Dombele, Son, Lucas, and Kane.
That's the best formation, the best team we have at the moment, who's obviously got the right balance and how we're used to playing. I'm just saying, if I was to concoct a formation and a team which I believe would get the best out of the players available, that's the formation I would go with. The 5-3-2.
Yeah, 5-3-2.
That's the formation in my head. Well, I think getting the best out of our best players, that's what I would do. But right now, playing 4-2-3-1 has the right balance for the time being, and it's a system that the players seem comfortable with, and it's a system that looks like it's paying dividends for the time being. But I reckon it's going to come unstuck in the not for now. I reckon against West Ham, against Man United, I reckon we'll play well, we'll put in a good performance. But down the line, once it gets to January, February, I reckon you might see us get found out a bit. That's my prediction.
Well, that is the strongest 11, Tottenham's strongest 11, or our best 11, shall we say.